All right. Well, welcome to Unscripted Conversations with Coach Jackie and Coach Shalonda. Have
Welcome.
you with us as we navigate and discuss the journey of life, personal growth, and the pursuit of clarity and purpose. From mindset to entrepreneurship and everything in between, join us for candid discussions and a journey of self discovery. Get ready to challenge, reflect, and grow. We are so excited that you're here, and we cannot wait for this unscripted conversation. So, now that we are ready to reflect and grow, let's get into today's topic. You guys, today we are going to discuss bouncing back from setbacks. And I don't know about you, but I've had some setbacks in my life that I had to bounce back from, and I'm bouncing back from some now. So, but before we get into our topic today, let me at least check in with my wonderful co-host, Coach Jackie. Coach Jackie, just how are you? What's going on in your world today?
Wow, I am really doing well today. I am having an amazing day. Things are really looking good. I'm so excited about even this conversation that we're going to have tonight. But wait a minute, Shalonda, you just celebrated a milestone birthday. How was it?
I did. I celebrated the big 5-0.
Ooh,
So shout out
woo-hoo.
to the 50 and over club. I'm with y'all now. It's no turning back. But it was good. It was good. I went out to Arizona. I had never been to Arizona. And it was hot, like 117 degrees hot. Like wake up at 6:30 a.m. and it was 95 degrees hot. But I enjoyed myself. I am blessed. I have been so blessed by people, honestly, who I just met and who maybe over the past couple of years I got into the room with some people with CQ group and my coaching group, and people just I came home to flowers that were delivered and gift cards and money, and just I just can't say how blessed I am. So thank you for asking. I am blessed. Thank you.
Wow, sounds like you had an amazing birthday.
I did, and there's more to come this weekend. So this weekend we're gonna
Uh-oh.
celebrate at my house with my family and friends. And so yeah, so I have. Thank you so much for asking.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. So we're talking about bouncing back today. Ooh,
Mhm.
I know when you mentioned that, I was trying to think of a situation, where I had to bounce back, and there have been many. And I'm thinking about on this journey to become a life coach, there were many times when, I became overwhelmed, I became frustrated, I feel like I was lacking clarity, I felt like I was stuck. But
Right.
how I begin to bounce back from those things, I begin to think about, Jackie, why do you believe you're called to be a life coach? And the answer was, I believe I'm called to help women be the best version of themselves that they can be able to live life fulfilled with joy, happiness, peace, and be their true, authentic selves. And when I begin to think about that, I'm like, okay, push past those fears, push past those doubts, and just continue to keep going. Then I also had some amazing people in my life, like Coach Shalonda, who I could go to, who could encourage me, all of those things. So those are just some of the things that I did to bounce back. What about you, Miss Coach?
Oh wow. Y'all, this is unscripted. And Coach Jackie popped this topic up on me like this is what we're gonna talk about. I'm like, okay, we said unscripted. So it's unscripted. So like you, I really didn't have a lot of time to think about it, but just in listening to you, man, I can remember being a senior in college, and my parents were paying out of their pocket. And I remember my senior year, first semester, they said, hey, you're gonna have to sit out. We just do not have the money. We have put our house up for a second mortgage. We've done everything, and we cannot pay. We need you to sit out a semester, and then you can return. And I remember thinking, this is so unfair. It's my senior year. All my friends, I'm the one making the good grades. Like they were just barely hanging on. Now I had a good time. Don't get me wrong, but I made my grades. I did the right thing, and I had to sit out. And then if that wasn't enough, I got pregnant, and I just thought my life was over. I'm out of college. I only had 1 year to go, and now I find myself pregnant. And I'm like, how do I recover from this? So I'm like, well, it's over. I'm done. I'm not going back to school. I'm going to be a mom. It is what it is. And it just wouldn't let me go. I'm like, I know I'm supposed to graduate. I know I'm supposed to get a degree. I know what I'm supposed to do. And I really had to bounce back because I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I wasn't the one that would end up pregnant. I just wasn't. And for all that to take place, I was so hurt and upset with myself, upset with God, felt like I disappointed my family. And I remember just pushing through and I said, I'm going to get my degree. I will finish. And then I said, but if they make me take math over, I will not finish because I am not taking math over. I don't care what they say. And as fate would have it, they said, we need you to take math over because what you took at your university, it really isn't transferring to our university. Oh, I thought, you've got to be kidding me. But, I believe sometimes God sets us up for a major comeback. So I had a comeback. Once my son got about 1.5, I said, I'm going back to school. And I did it working full time. And then I would go to school in the evening, and I had a young son. But it was just an opportunity to say, hey, just because you've had a setback doesn't mean you can't bounce back. And I had a major setback, but I did bounce back and I did graduate. And my son was 5 when I graduated. He got to attend and see me graduate and then see me go on to get my master's. And so yeah, it was a setback, but I was able to bounce back. So thank you just for reminding me. Sometimes we forget some of the things that we've made it through.
Absolutely. And that was just an amazing story. I'm so glad that you took time to even
Mm,
share that. I really can relate to that. And I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that story for sure, for sure. And then as you were talking, it even made me think about my transition from working and into retiring.
mm,
You work and you work and you put in all the time. And during that time, I've been in that field for probably about 25 years. And it was just so many things going on. I start turning into a person that I didn't even like. I
mm.
became real irritable, you know, quick tempered, and that was so not me, on the norm. It can come up, but that's just not how I typically function. And I said, Jackie, I don't like this person that you're turning into. So then I had to decide to make a decision that I wanted to do something different. And that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to retire. And I went and I put in the time. I set the date that I was going to retire. And, things have just been really amazing in my life. I started investing in myself, became a part of various programs, became a programs that helped me in areas of leadership, of spiritual development, of God, I can't remember them all, but those are two that's coming off the top. Emotional well-being, and there's some more that's a part of that program. And they have definitely been a very interesting part in my life. They've been very effective at making me be the person that's talking with you today. So I can understand what you're talking about when you're talking about bouncing back, because that's like a big transition. You're used to working, you punch in the clock every day, now you have all this free time. Well, what do you do with it? So I'm so grateful that I chose to invest in myself and use it as an opportunity to fulfill some of my dreams, to fulfill some of my desires.
That's
Good
awesome.
share. I love that, Shalonda. Really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just to even hear you say that, I'm like, I look forward to that day one. But just to hear you say that, that is a transition that sometimes we take for granted because we're like, oh, they retired, they're good. But it's like, no, that's a whole different world of a way of living that you were not accustomed to, and
Correct.
you have to adjust. And I think sometimes even with setbacks or bouncing back, it's just like dealing with change.
Yes.
We are I'm just reading this book, The Mountain Is You, and one of the things that it is just talking about is so much we are creatures of comfort.
Mhm.
So we don't, it's not even like we're made to seek happiness. We're made to seek comfort. And as long as we are comfortable, even though we say we want more, a lot of times we just want to be comfortable.
Mhm.
And so when change comes in, it can just really throw things. And we hear, oh, change is good. And it's like change is good, but it's uncertain. And because we don't know what comes with the change, we know what comes with this world. You knew what it was to clock in and clock out and do this, even if it got on your nerves, even if it was, yeah, you're like, oh, I just can't wait for it, but you knew what to expect. when you walked away, it was walking into a whole new world. How did you manage that, like the unknown of like, I don't know what to expect now? Because I had a similar story, but not retirement, but a similar story. But I'm just curious, how did you manage the unknown of, I don't know what this side is like. I knew what this side was like, but I don't know what this is going to end up like. Am I going to be struggling? Am I going to be bored? Like, how did you manage through that?
I think the interesting thing about it was before I retired, I was already in part of a program called Daniel's Den. So I was already involved in that, and probably about towards the end of the year, I believe it was, that's when he opened up the coaching program. And it was so amazing. Was relaxing, and I dealt with how can I say this? Emotional abuse, sexual abuse, and it was always my I experienced that. So it was always my passion to help women navigate and heal from that. And I began to research and things of how I can do that. And the interesting thing about it is I also researched how to help children who have witnessed domestic violence. I've never experienced it, but I witnessed it, and it has just a great impact on you as if you experienced it yourself. So then this coaching program opens up. Excuse me. I was like, wow, this would be great because I can gain skills and, have tools to help me to be able to support people in who deal with trauma. So I think that kind of helped me because I was already involved in something. And as things begin to unfold, I just took it to the next level. And it's almost like I've just been moving since I retired.
Wow, it sounds like it.
Yeah, I retired February the 1st. I think the class started like February the 9th. And it's just been, steady, steady, steady. I'm not bored. I have things that I do every day, creating content, creating videos. I've had opportunities to have coaching sessions. So it's been fun. I'm enjoying it.
And this was 2022, right?
2021.
Wow.
Yeah, this year be 2 years. So maybe 2022. Wow. Yeah, 2022. You're right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's coming up on 2 years.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is amazing. And you said some powerful things there. And for those of you that don't know, if you hear us talking, we're talking about Daniel's Den or coaching, or it's a part of a program, and we are not affiliated with it from the standpoint, we're not getting paid to say this or anything, right. But we're just a part of a program through Pastor Darius Daniels, and Daniel's Den is a continuity program. I'm in that as well. And it just helps you grow and develop. And I think what you're saying is that was one way they helped you sustain some things and kind of put you in a space. And being in that program, which was the same for me, is how I found out about the coaching program.
Correct.
And said, you know what? I think I want to pick up the skill of coaching. And as we talked previously, I'm so glad I did, not even just for coaching others, but sometimes you got to coach you.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you have to coach you. And when you are dealing with some setbacks, you have to coach yourself through some things.
Absolutely.
There's some times in the middle of the night when it's just you and Jesus, and it's like you can't call on nobody. It's just you, and you got to be able to coach yourself through. And I can relate going from corporate to just working for myself. And that was so scary. And having some moments of setbacks during that and some challenges through that. And also, even now with my business, having some moments of setback and challenges. And it's like, how do you get through those moments when business isn't the way you thought it was going to be, and you no longer have corporate America to depend on? You are the corporate America. So it's not like, oh, I know every 2 weeks I'm getting this. And I know, I get these days off for personal and sick and no. You don't work, you don't get paid. So it's some adjustment, and really life is about adjusting.
Yes.
As we navigate through life, it's about adjusting. It's about saying, okay, this is where I am, this is where I want to be. How do I get there? But how do I make the adjustments when it's not going the way I want it to go? Like, how do I keep coming back and bouncing back and staying on this journey, even when things aren't going the way I want them to go? Because sometimes life is like what we're having, unscripted. You don't know what's going to come. So,
and I like what you said, but for me, I've discovered it helped me to reframe it. whatever their situation is, just begin to think of it differently and begin to look at it as, wow, this is an opportunity for me to learn, for me to grow, for me to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Innovative, creativity. You'd be amazed at what kind of things can spark when you're in tight spots sometimes. The other thing that also helped me was to begin to think of the first thing that I can do to bounce back from that setback. If it's no more than creating a plan of how I can bounce back, but begin to think about the first thing that I can do to bounce back. And then the third thing I realized is that self-care is important, because when we're dealing with setbacks, it can be so emotionally draining. It can impact us in so many ways. So you want to make sure that I try to make sure that I'm taking care of myself. I encourage you to do the same. Find things that you enjoy. If it means going on a vacation, going on a staycation. It's this, I don't know, not YouTube, but I guess it's TikTok or something like that. And it just cracks me up. He says, I need some kind of cation. I don't know if it's a vacation, if it's medication, if it's a staycation, but I need some kind of cation. So you just want to begin to just do things that you enjoy, things that bring you, make you happy and kind of rejuvenate you. So those are 3 tips that kind of help me when I'm a setback.
She's coaching. I don't even know if y'all know it. She's on here coaching. And I don't know if she knows that y'all know it, but I know it. She's coaching. We received those gems. Thank you for sharing those. And honestly, consistency is so key, because there's days you don't feel like it. There's times you can't go off of how you feel, because your feelings will have you all over the place. Sometimes you feel like it, sometimes you don't. It's like you're just all over the place. But staying consistent despite what you are feeling, and saying, you know what? I know I'm called to do something. I know I'm called to something greater. I know this is just a setback. It's not my final destination, because sometimes setbacks look final. They're not final. It's just a setback. But if you're not careful, you'll start to think, well, it's over. Kind of like I did. Well, I had to sit out of school a semester. It's over. I'm done. I'm not finishing. But it was just a setback. And what I realized, and I just would throw this out there, is when I came back and went to school, I was a better student. I was more mature. I was a little bit older. I had a son. I was more committed to the process, because I saw what it was like to have to step away from it. And I was like, you know what, God, I guess I was like, finally, like, well, thank you. I couldn't see it then, but I see it now. The trajectory I'm on, I had good grades, but I didn't have these kind of grades. These grades were much better. And even though I was working full time and had a little one, my mindset was different. And so sometimes a setback is really for almost every time it's for your benefit. And you just can't see it at that moment. And I know people who have tried to have children and just could not have children. And I know people that tried to have children and couldn't and still don't have them. I know people that tried to have children and couldn't and finally had them. And either way, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't seem good, but somehow it's for our good, however it turns out. And I remember somebody said, "You want a boy? Do you want a girl?" And I'm like, I don't know. I just want whatever I'm supposed to have. And sometimes that's tough. It's like, oh, but you gave me this, but I wanted that. And I was actually just listening to a sermon today about manna, and Pastor Derek Youngers was preaching about it. And manna, we always heard that manna rained down, but he said, no, manna represents like, what is this? It's not what I asked for. It's about when God gives you something, but it doesn't meet your expectation. And sometimes our expectations are not met when we have a setback. However, we have to know that with every setback, there's a comeback. And so we just got to wait around for that comeback story. So thank you for bringing up this topic, because sometimes you just have to be reminded of your setbacks and how you've come back from your setbacks.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I hope our audience have enjoyed this. I hope it's definitely have been enlightening. I hope you were able to laugh and even begin to think about how you're able to bounce back from a setback, because trust me, in life, It's natural. It's a normal thing. We're going to have things that come up and cause us to setback. But as you know, Coach Shalonda said, it doesn't mean that it's the end. It doesn't mean that life is over, but it's an opportunity to grow, to discover, to learn so many things. As she said, you know, once she went back to school, she was more mature, more focused, more committed. So there's some positive things that can come out of setbacks. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. What do you say, Miss Shalonda?
I know I did. Thank you for being unscripted and just saying, hey, let's talk about this today. And I hope you all felt our heart, our vulnerability. I think we both are very vulnerable. We want to be open. We want to be vulnerable. We want to be unscripted. But setbacks, you guys, are just opportunities for comebacks. And it doesn't look like it at the time, but if you just hold on, stay consistent, stay committed to the process, don't give up, you will have a comeback from your setback.
Well, that wraps up another insightful episode of Unscripted Conversation. We are so grateful to have you on this journey with us. And if you found value in our chat today, please like, subscribe, and share with someone who might benefit. Remember, life's richest lessons often come from unscripted moments. Until next time, keep growing and keep discovering. Take care.